Okay, you guys. So Claressa Shields just gave the internet the receipt it has been begging for, and honestly, I don't think she even realized she was handing it over. If you have blinked in the last 48 hours, you missed a live stream that has every commentary channel, every blog, and every corner of boxing Twitter locked in like it's fight night. Trust me, by the time we finish breaking this down, you are going to see why so many viewers are saying the exact same 3 words. Papoose is upstairs. Again. But hold on. Before we get into the clip, the comments, the reactions, the merch mess, and the Remy Ma pivot that nobody saw coming, I need you to understand something. This is not just another Claressa Shields moment. This is the moment a lot of people online believe finally cracked the whole storyline open. And once you hear what she said, and once you see how she said it, you are going to understand why the internet refuses to let this one go. Now let me catch you up real quick, because I have been a little behind. Work has had me stretched thin, and I have also been putting a ton of energy into building out my other channel behind the scenes, so shout out to everyone who has been patient with me. But things are finally easing up, which means it is time to circle back to the drama we all know you have been waiting on. And Claressa? Girl. You always deliver. So here is what happened. Claressa hopped on a live stream, and from the very first second, viewers said something felt off. She was giggling. She was glancing at the corners of the room. She kept saying she was not looking at what people were saying, but somehow she was responding to every single comment in real time. You know how that goes. The people who swear the loudest that they do not care are always the ones typing the fastest. That alone would have been enough to fuel a normal news cycle. But then she said the line. The line that lit the whole internet on fire. She said, and I want you to really sit with this, that she was not supposed to be on her camera. She said Papoose was upstairs. Upstairs. You guys. Upstairs. That word has been trailing this man for years, and here we are again. That single word did more damage in 6 seconds than a full diss track could have done in 6 minutes. And what makes it worse is that it happened on the exact same night that Remy Ma was being announced as a special guest at Rick Ross's 20-year anniversary celebration at the Beacon Theater in New York City. Now you tell me. What are the odds? Because that is the part nobody is talking about loud enough. Every single time Remy Ma has a major public moment, a Claressa Shields moment magically pops up right on top of it. Every single time. Rick Ross announces Remy is joining him at the Beacon. Boom. Claressa is live. Angie Martinez does an event with Remy. Boom. Claressa is live. Lil Kim jumps on the remix of the French Montana and Max B record with Remy on the hook. Boom. Claressa is live. At this point you cannot even call it coincidence anymore. The timing is too clean. And the audience? The audience is not stupid. Now let me be very clear about something before the comments come for me. I am not saying Claressa Shields planned any of this. I am telling you what the internet is saying. And what the internet is saying is that every time the spotlight even flickers in Remy Ma's direction, another live stream conveniently rolls out to yank it right back. You can call it strategy. You can call it insecurity. You can call it a coincidence. But you cannot call it invisible. Because we are all watching. And speaking of watching, let's talk about what viewers actually saw during that stream. Multiple people who tuned in said the exact same thing. They said Claressa seemed determined, almost desperate, to get Papoose on camera. Not casually. Not naturally. But in a way that felt like she needed the internet to see him. To prove he was there. To prove he was with her. To prove he was not in New York. To prove he was not anywhere near a Remy Ma event. And that, right there, is where the whole thing starts to unravel. Because think about it. If a relationship is solid, you do not have to prove it on a live stream at midnight. You do not have to angle your camera toward a doorway hoping he walks past. You do not have to drop hints about who is upstairs. You do not have to do any of that. The people who are secure in their situations do not host live stream tribunals to defend their situations. They just live. Quietly. Confidently. Off camera. And that is exactly why critics online are saying what they are saying. They are saying that the more Claressa tries to prove something, the more the internet becomes convinced there is something to prove. Every live stream. Every wink at the camera. Every casual mention of Papoose being upstairs. Every one of those moments adds another log to the fire she keeps saying she does not care about. It is the paradox of the whole storyline. And it is the reason this saga refuses to die. Now here is where it gets even messier, because the live stream did not stop at the upstairs comment. Not even close. Claressa also, according to viewers, addressed the criticism surrounding her merchandise line. And let me tell you, that opened up a whole different can of worms. For those who missed it, Claressa recently rolled out a line of merch, and the internet had a field day. Fans were questioning the pricing. Fans were questioning the timing. Fans were questioning why a heavyweight, hoodie-style drop was being marketed in the dead middle of summer, when half the country is sitting under a heat advisory and temperatures are pushing well past 100 degrees. And the single loudest talking point? A collectible bobblehead. A bobblehead, you guys. With a price tag that made people spit out their drinks. But it gets worse. Because on the live, Claressa reportedly said the merch had already been sitting in storage before it was even listed. Now I want you to really absorb that sentence, because that one sentence sent the internet into orbit. Critics jumped on it immediately, saying that comment made the whole launch feel less like a brand new drop and more like leftover inventory getting a fresh coat of paint. Whether that is fair or unfair, you cannot deny the reaction. It spread across social media in minutes. And of course, that opened up a whole new argument. On one side, you had fans defending the merch, saying supporters can spend their money on whatever they want, and it is nobody's business how a champion chooses to run her brand. On the other side, you had critics saying the whole thing felt rushed, overpriced, and more about the moment than the product. And somewhere in the middle, you had regular viewers just trying to figure out how a bobblehead became a national conversation. But that is the Claressa Shields effect. Everything she touches becomes a debate. Now, before I go any further, there is one clip from that live stream that I want you to hear for yourself, because reading about it does not do it justice. You have to hear the tone. You have to hear the pauses. You have to hear the way she said the word upstairs. Because that word, in that moment, is the entire reason we are here today. So let me play it, and then I want us to break down what really happened, line by line. Okay. Did you catch that? Did you catch the exact moment where she almost slipped, then corrected herself, then giggled, then said the word anyway? That is not a random moment. That is a person who knows the camera is on. That is a person who knows the audience is listening. That is a person who is very aware of every syllable coming out of her mouth. And that is why the internet is not letting this one go. Because here is the thing about Claressa Shields. She is not a random influencer. She is a 4-time undisputed world champion. She is a 19-time world champ. She is arguably the greatest female boxer to ever lace up gloves. Nobody is denying her resume. Nobody is denying her talent. Nobody is denying her legacy inside the ring. But outside the ring? Outside the ring is a completely different fight. And right now, based on what viewers are saying, Claressa is losing that fight round after round. And here is where the Papoose piece really starts to sting. Because during his recent press conference appearance, Papoose was introduced as an entrepreneur. A businessman. An executive. Impressive titles. Big descriptors. But the internet, being the internet, immediately started asking one very simple question. What business? What deals? What ventures? Because from what viewers see on their timelines, day after day, week after week, Papoose does not appear to be in boardrooms. He does not appear to be closing deals. He appears to be around Claressa. At her workouts. At her events. At her fights. Which is beautiful if that is what you are, a supportive partner. But not so beautiful if the world is being sold a different title. That is the disconnect a lot of people online keep pointing to. And with another fight approaching, that disconnect is only going to get louder. Because the closer the fight gets, the more cameras get pointed at both of them. And every camera is another opportunity for a slip-up. Another live stream. Another upstairs. Another headline. Now let's talk about something else that caught fire this week. Because there is a very quiet, very subtle shift happening in the language around Papoose's marital status, and if you were not paying attention, you would have missed it. For months and months, the conversation was about divorce. Divorce filings. Divorce rumors. Divorce timelines. But now the word people are using is separated. Separated. Not divorced. Separated. And that single word swap has viewers side-eyeing everything. Because separated and divorced are not the same thing. Not legally. Not emotionally. Not practically. Separated means the paperwork is not done. Separated means a legal tie still exists. Separated means every single public appearance, every single live stream, every single soft launch is happening while a marriage is technically still on the books. And critics online are asking the obvious question. Why the sudden shift in vocabulary? Was the divorce ever actually as close as the public was led to believe? Or has the story quietly changed while everyone was distracted? I am not going to answer that for you. I am just going to leave it right there and let you sit with it. Because you know exactly what I mean. And now let's pivot back to the elephant that has been in every room for years. Remy Ma. Because you cannot talk about Claressa Shields right now without talking about Remy. It is impossible. The two names are locked together in the internet's imagination, whether either of them likes it or not. And while Claressa has been generating headlines through live streams, merch launches, and camera angles, Remy has been generating headlines through actual, verifiable, professional wins. Think about it. Remy Ma just got announced as a special guest for the 20th anniversary celebration of Rick Ross's Port of Miami album at the Beacon Theater in New York City. That is legacy hip-hop. That is a co-sign from one of the biggest names in the game. That is a stage that money cannot buy you onto. And that is not the only look Remy has been getting. She has been doing events with Angie Martinez. She has been in conversations connected to the French Montana and Max B record with Lil Kim on the remix. She has been visible. She has been active. She has been busy. And most importantly, she has been busy doing music. Not damage control. That is the contrast so many fans keep highlighting. On one side, you have a woman quietly rebuilding her professional momentum, staying largely out of the public relationship discourse, and letting the work speak for itself. On the other side, you have a woman constantly on live, constantly explaining, constantly proving, constantly clarifying. And whether you love Claressa Shields or roll your eyes at her, the contrast is impossible to ignore. Fans have also been showering Remy with compliments across social media. Her return to that signature two-tone hairstyle got the entire timeline talking. People said she looks refreshed. People said she looks confident. People said she looks like a woman who is on the other side of something. And whether you personally agree or not, the reception online has been almost universally positive. That is another log on the comparison fire. Meanwhile, critics are saying Claressa looks the opposite of that. They are saying she looks stressed. They are saying she looks tense. They are saying the constant noise around her personal life is starting to bleed into her public appearances. Some viewers even said that during the recent press conference she looked like she was holding a lot of weight behind her eyes. Whether that is fair, whether that is projection, whether that is the internet being cruel, I will let you decide. But that is the perception. And in this game, perception is everything. And then there is the joke that will not die. The upstairs joke. Because every single time Papoose's name trends, somebody in the comments section drops that word. Upstairs. It has become a punchline. It has become a meme. It has become shorthand for an entire storyline. And the reason it sticks is not because it is clever. It is because every few weeks, another live stream reminds people of it. Every few weeks, another moment refreshes the joke. Every few weeks, Papoose is upstairs again. And every few weeks, the internet laughs a little louder. The bigger criticism, though, is not the joke. It is the pattern behind the joke. It is the fact that whenever Papoose's name comes up, viewers say he is either upstairs, on the sidelines, at a workout, at a press conference, or in the background of a live stream. What they are saying they do not see him doing is the businessman stuff. The entrepreneur stuff. The executive stuff. The stuff he was introduced as. And that gap between the title and the timeline is the exact space where the internet lives. Some viewers have gone even further. They have said that even when Papoose is in the same city as a major event, he keeps a surprisingly low profile. Whether that is by choice, by strategy, or by circumstance, nobody outside that household knows for sure. But the internet has already made up its mind. And once the internet makes up its mind, good luck changing it. Another criticism I have been seeing on repeat is about the choice to keep this relationship so public in the first place. Because let's be honest. If you know a situation is going to attract heat, and you know the timing is complicated, and you know the paperwork is not finished, most people would choose privacy. Most people would step out of the spotlight. Most people would let the noise die down before they walked hand in hand into a BET Awards red carpet. But not this couple. This couple leans all the way in. Every event. Every appearance. Every camera. Every angle. And critics keep pointing to other celebrity couples who have handled similar situations with a lot more discretion. They mention artists who kept their new relationships offline until every legal loose end was tied up. They mention entertainers who intentionally skipped high-profile events so their partners would not become tabloid targets. Right or wrong, those comparisons are being made. And every comparison chips away at the narrative Claressa keeps trying to build. That is why the loop never closes. Every live stream is supposed to end the conversation. Every live stream ends up starting a new one. Every upstairs comment is supposed to prove something. Every upstairs comment proves something else entirely. Every merch drop is supposed to remind people she is a business. Every merch drop reminds them she is a headline. It is a cycle. And she is at the center of it. And the internet is watching it spin. Now let's zoom out for a second, because I want to talk about the fight. The actual boxing fight. Because with all this noise, it is easy to forget that Claressa Shields has an event coming up. And during that recent press conference, ticket sales became one of the loudest talking points in commentary corners. Multiple creators pointed out that the numbers being reported were not exactly what you would expect for a fighter of her caliber. Some said the arena looked lighter than expected on the seating chart. Some said promotional energy felt lower than her previous fights. And some just outright said the drama around her personal life may be pulling attention away from her professional one. There are also lingering questions about the level of competition she is facing inside the ring. That conversation has been simmering for a while, with critics referencing previous disputes involving MVP promotions, previous callouts she never got, and previous matchups fans keep saying they wanted to see but never got. Whether those criticisms are fair is up for debate. But those conversations are getting louder. And they are getting harder to ignore. Which brings us back to the core question. Who is really benefiting from all this online spectacle? Because if you look at the box score, so to speak, Claressa is fielding constant relationship rumors, constant merch debates, constant press conference scrutiny, and constant comparisons to a woman who used to share her partner's last name. Meanwhile, Remy is quietly stacking co-signs, stages, and comeback moments. On paper, one of these women is winning the news cycle. And it is not the one hosting the live streams. At the end of the day, a lot of online observers keep landing on the same conclusion. They believe Claressa and Papoose are both way more affected by the internet than they want to admit. Every response. Every live. Every subtle jab. Every carefully worded caption. Every camera angle. Every mention of who is upstairs. It all adds up to two people who insist they do not care while behaving like people who care very deeply. And whether that is actually true or just how the audience is reading it, only they know. But here is what I know. The internet is not moving on from this story. Not this week. Not this month. Not before the fight. Not after the fight. This story has legs. This story has layers. This story has a life of its own now. And every time somebody thinks it is finally quieting down, another live stream drops. Another Remy Ma feature announcement pops up. Another Papoose sighting hits the timeline. Another upstairs joke goes viral. And the whole cycle restarts. So let me ask you the question that everybody is arguing about in the comment sections right now. Do you think Claressa Shields is genuinely happy and just responding to internet trolls the way any human would? Or do you think there is something deeper going on behind these live streams? Do you think Papoose is being framed unfairly, or do you think the internet has finally figured out the story? And do you think Remy Ma is intentionally staying out of it, or do you think her recent professional wins are the loudest response of all? Let me know what you think in the comments, because I read every single one, and I am genuinely curious how this one lands with you. Also, if you have not subscribed yet, hit that button so you do not miss the next chapter of this saga, because trust me, there is going to be a next chapter. There is always a next chapter. And when it drops, you already know where to find me. I have a feeling the next few weeks are going to be wild, especially with the fight coming up, the Remy Ma appearances lining up, and Papoose sitting in the exact position he always ends up sitting in. So stay locked in. Stay in the comments. And stay ready. Because if this week is any preview of what is coming, we are about to be very, very busy. That is all I have for you today, but before you click off, do me one favor. Scroll down, drop your honest take, and tell me who you think is really running the internet right now. Claressa or Remy? I want to see the receipts in the comments section. And if you disagree with anything I said, even better. Come tell me why. Because at the end of the day, that is what makes this community what it is. We watch. We talk. We debate. And we come back for more. Alright. That is truly it for now. Stay safe. Stay petty in a healthy way. And I will talk to you very, very soon.